Let's quickly look at the playwright configuration. So playwright configuration by default is set up in the playwright.config.ts. It's automatically generated as soon as you set up a new project. By default, the test directory is .test or as you might select when you set up the project. So this is also added to the config file. And playwright by default runs all the tests in fully parallel mode, but let's say if you want to run a test that needs to be in a serial mode, then just set this option to false. This is especially useful if you have multiple tests with preconditions. For bid only, let's say if you want to debug a particular test, then you can use this option called test.only in your source code, which will let you to kind of run that particular test while you debug it locally. But what if you check in this file with test.only, then it means that on a CI/CD pipeline, it's going to run only that particular test. So this is an option that actually looks for such a change in the syntax and basically fails the build. You can also set the number of retries for a failed test. So by default, playwright actually runs a couple of times before it actually gives up in terms of a test failure. Workers are basically the number of threads in which all their tests will be run. So let's say, for example, you have about 20 tests and then there are about 4 workers, then about 4 tests will be run at a time, and all 20 tests will be run within a few seconds, since playwright actually provides parallelism by default. Playwright has multiple reporter options. You can store your report as HTML, JSON, and also as a JUnit file. You can actually change the reporter to anything that you want, and it lets you to kind of run it the way that you want to. Let's say, for example, if you use line, it will actually print each and every line that is getting executed when you actually run these tests. Trace is basically a trace report that contains all the network calls and the screenshots and snapshots. So playwright creates a trace report in case if there are failures and on your first retry. So this is done by default, but if you want to change the options, then you have the option to actually keep it on for all the tests that you want to run each time, even if it is successful. And then there is an option called off. You might also use this option called retain on failure. So what does retain on failure do? So basically, if there are successful runs, but there is a subsequent run where there's a failure, then all the other successful runs traces will actually be discarded. Projects are basically, you can actually kind of specify what you want from a configuration standpoint at a project level. Let's say, for example, you want to run fully parallel mode only in Chrome, but not anywhere else. All that you do is just copy paste it here. Oops. So it'll run in fully parallel mode in Chrome, or you can just set it to false. So when it comes to Chrome, it will not run in parallel mode, but rather in serial mode. So you can specify granular level config options for each and every project that you see here. So these are some of the options that you have. Let's look at detailed config changes in our next video.